Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Royal Ascot preview. Jack's favourite week of the year, as we have said. You're buzzing to get going again, aren't you, into this part 2?
Yeah, not far away now. It's almost in touching distance.
It almost is.
Might be my favourite meeting, but sacrilege today from Joey to say it's probably not one of his favourite meetings.
Certainly not. No, it's not one of my favourite meetings.
For context though, it's not so much the actual race, and it's in terms of attending.
Attending, I think, is hard. It's a hard place to attend for me.
Yeah.
It's not for the purist, I wouldn't say. It's often quite packed. I think it is a better racecourse get round than Cheltenham, for example. I find it's much better user experience. But I also think it's very hard. It's a very hard place to have winners. You can have absolute bloodbaths here.
As it was last year.
Yes, complete bloodbath. So, it can be tricky. Waipiro basically just kind of stemmed some of the hemorrhaging last year for me. I think that was about as good as it got, really. But yeah, no, it can be extremely tough. So hopefully we have a very good week. It can go well. You yourself have had numerous good Royal Ascots, so definitely something.
Historically, it's just one of those meetings for me. People have Cheltenham, whatever. Yeah. For me, it's always been Royal Ascot. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, and fingers crossed that Opulence's horses, our sponsors, run really well next week. There should be a couple of them out. Purasang should be running in 5 furlong Group 1. We should be having Dashing Darcy running later in the week as well, and one of the Handicaps. So there's lots of things to look forward to.
One in the Britannia as well. So.
Yes, potentially one in potentially Arctic Thunder, I believe, is running in the Britannia. So an exciting week for Opulence. Please do get involved. Click the link below. Follow to the website, sign up if that's something you'd like to do. Roll the clip.
Opulence Thoroughbreds is a racing and breeding syndicate operating at the highest level, with top quality horses, first-rate trainers, stable visits, social events, and not forgetting your share of the prize money and sales proceeds. Nothing compares to the thrill of watching your horse win. Head to opulencethoroughbreds.com to find out more.
Right then, Jack, shall we start by having another look? So we recorded early in the week, didn't we, our part 1. There was some conjecture about what the ground was going to be, about whether it was going to be soft. A few soft ground horses were backed around a week or so ago. You were very strong that you thought the ground was going to be good to firm, good in places. And lo and behold, it looks like it will be, and they're suggesting they might even water.
Yes, good to firm, good in places. We're recording Saturday night.
Yeah.
Just in Ealing today, West London, where we were working, there was some really heavy, quick bursts of showers. Yeah. Whether Ascot got that, probably not. But anything like that can obviously change the ground really quickly. I think they're going to hold off watering until Sunday, maybe early into Monday morning. But at the moment, it does look like being good to firm, good in places, and they might just water to turn that good to firm. But it does look now at this point that there will be a little bit of firm in the going, which is good for me because I took that angle. You take a little bit of a risk. There was showers forecast, but I got a few pelters, but people seem to think it was maybe going to be good to soft. But
well, that's part of the game, isn't it? Taking pelters. That's just what we have to do.
It's part and parcel.
Anyone who puts their head above the parapet has to accept sometimes someone's going to try and swipe it off.
Yes.
I could also hear some collective groans when I suggested there be watering.
Well, as you kind of touched on last episode, for modern day going descriptions, Epsom did turn out quite quick on the Saturday, didn't it? And they'll just maintain sort of good to firm, and then because it does look like it's going to get into the sort of mid-20s, and that'll just dry out as the day progresses.
With sunny spells potentially as well.
Yeah, and it's been quite blustery, so it should dry out, the evapotranspiration. I know absolutely nothing about that, but yeah, drying ground. And
people have to understand these clerks are under huge pressure. They're not going to get the runners. People need to, I think, when they're upset about these sorts of things, direct their dissatisfaction at trainers who aren't running their horses when there is firm ground.
Well, your man, it's Haydock. What can you do? 1 week it's too soft, and one week everyone's pulling them out because it's too quick. And
it's a minefield. We need to look at the trainers.
Yeah, we're dawdling. Let's crack on, because it's a can of worms that we don't need to get into, and we're already 2 minutes in.
We are. I just think it's something people like to talk about. But let's kick on. Right, so you have some facts for us that we should be bearing in mind about this year, and obviously always Royal Ascot's kind of certain quirks.
Yeah, in terms of facts, the Duke of Cambridge this year, interestingly, is going to switch to the round course, and therefore the Kensington Palace will move to the straight track, which is an interesting move for a filly I'll mention later on. But I think that's just to avoid sort of the repetition of what you have in the Royal Hunt Cup on the straight track, and then a fillies race in a handicap, and then you have the likes of really good mares like Inspiral in the Queen Anne. I know she's going the Prince of Wales, but the good fillies could go there, and then they're going to be on the round track now. So I'm very much in favour of that switch. This is more of a subjective view, but certainly wouldn't be put off by a high draw on the round course. Quite often, well, we're bound to hear at some point in the next week that trainers will be like, I would have really preferred a lower draw, and they're drawn out in 14, 15, and that is not a problem because they get racing so early in the race to get a position on that rail, and if you're drawn sort of 1 to 6, 7, you can get swallowed up pretty easily, and it's not the place to be on that inside rail, and then they'll take a pull coming into Swindley Bottom. So yeah, wouldn't be put off by a high draw, and that's about it really. Just keep track of the going description. Ascot the Going, I think, is what you'd Google, and they have a real dedicated site which is updated regularly, and that's brilliant.
Fantastic. Right, should we kick on?
Yes.
And so let's get into the racing. Right, where are we going to start?
Might as well start Queen Anne. We kind of touched on it, mentioned the Spiral, and then...
why are we on day 5 here?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's just why I thought I'd just stick a...
Should I put that out of sight there? Yeah. Cool.
I just thought I'd check there, just so we can...
No, well done. Good spot.
Okay, right, so the Queen Anne, we will gallop very quickly over the races we talked about in part 1, but some things have changed, so let's make sure we acknowledge them. So obviously Inspiral not running in the Queen Anne, it's never really a race that's worked out for us, so I think it's great, we're going to be seeing a change.
It is, yeah.
So what are we thinking, very quickly?
Well, we did kind of forewarn at the time, it was likely that Inspiral go here. As we said, it's not a surprise now that she goes for what we thought was the right race. It obviously blows it wide open. Factor Cheval, you kind of agreed that he's real rock solid. Yeah, hard to see past him.
Only horse I was thinking about was Maldoom, obviously William Haggis' horse. Has run very well here before, but on the round course in the St James's Palace. Do you see him as one that could go well in this?
Possibly. I wouldn't have him in mind as a winner. I thought Docklands went past him pretty easily there in the trial. I have confirmation that he's going to run here instead of the Wolferton.
Right.
There's going to be decks for that, obviously, Sunday. So when this goes out, this will be on the day. So this is no help to viewers, I suppose, at this point. Sod's law. But yeah, he's going to go there instead of the Queen. I think he's quite interesting in what is obviously a really open race. And around 16 to 1, I think he could definitely run in the places. Maybe not quite win it. Factor Cheval for me. Attentive vote.
I would be in complete agreement. We're going to skip past St James's Palace because not much has changed there really.
No, just the French Guineas winner and the other French horse they're going to run. But yeah, as you say, not too much has changed.
The 3 big ones that we thought were going to be duelling out the top of the market are duelling out the top of the market. So
yeah, we'll
kick on to the Coventry Stakes. Do you have any thoughts on the 2-year-old race? How do you generally approach 2-year-old races at Royal Ascot? Is it something you'd like to have a bet in? For me, I think they are just horrid.
It's as we were kind of discussing on the way here, it's so hard because obviously you've got 1 or 2 bits of form. You've got your likes of the Coward of the County's only run once. Yeah. Horse who I like in this Catalyze, he's only run once. Yeah. We just don't know. It's the unknown factor. Whereas a horse like Al Qudra, I like the fact he's had 3 runs. He was impressive last time. The 3 I've just mentioned there, those would be the 3 I like the most in this. I was really taken by Catalyze. I think he could be a little underrated just because he ran at Hamilton. Yes. But I think he's very highly regarded. James Doyle obviously selected him. Yes. And around 16-1, I'm definitely going to play him at that price, but absolutely not a strong bet at all. And I won't really be getting stuck into the 2-year-old races for the reasons mentioned.
Certainly not for me. We're probably going to brush straight past King Charles because again, not much has changed really. Nope. Unless anything jumps out to you.
Not from the last episode.
And on to the Ascot Stakes. I thought Zandabad was quite interesting in this when I was looking through. Obviously, it's just top of the market, dominated by jumps trainers.
And the Irish got a real strong hand, don't they? My probably a good few points too short, purely just because of Willie Mullins.
Yes.
One I'd maybe go with here, again a tentative vote. This wouldn't be a strong vote of confidence, but Divine Comedy for Harry Eustace. She's a real progressive mare. She's
for your old mate.
Yeah, she goes here. She's in the Copper Horse as well. This is the race she's going to go for. I think she's just been progressing, going up in trip. This is another step up, 4 furlongs. That should be fine. But when you get these mares in real good form, it's always good to side with them, I think. And she's a filly on the upgrade. She won really well last time. Certainly wouldn't be put off with her. And Tritonic.
I was looking at Tritonic as well. I mean, Tritonic and obviously Metier was another one. If there
is a lot of showers, Metier. Yeah. But Tritonic really needs good ground.
He does. Yeah.
He was third off 100 in this last year. Kingy's got him down to a mark of 95. Given 2 quiet runs on the all-weather, and I'd say absolutely this has been the target for a long time. So it's going to be small bets, but those are the 2, Divine Comedy and Tritonic. They're both around 20 to 1. Would be small each ways for me in that.
Interesting, right? And then we kick on to the Wolferton.
Yes, quite a strong fancy here to Rito. I put him up at the Guineas meeting. Probably just needed the run with hindsight.
Yep.
Gosden's, we know, always a little bit slow to hand. Thought he ran really well there. This is another step up.
Because it was one of those where it wasn't happening, and then it started to happen quite late, didn't it? It was an odd run. Do you think that he just struggled with the dip a bit?
Possibly, yeah. It's a good point, because at the very end there, he's coming again, isn't he?
Yeah. It was one of those where you're like, I thought we were winning all the way, like through the majority of this race, and then you went from kind of fully believing that to suddenly like, oh, this is just not happening.
He's not going to quite get there.
He's not going anywhere. He suddenly stopped, and then obviously hit the rising ground, and then suddenly he was grinding and got much closer than I thought he was going to get.
Yeah, that was absolutely great run, and with the expectation he's going to come on a bundle for it. As I say, he's going to have to step up quite a bit.
Yes.
But he's always looked like he had the setback after running here in the Hampton Court last year. He met traffic and running there. He probably picked the injury up in that race. We never saw him again, but I'm fair sure he would have progressed in the stakes races had he not had that setback towards the end of last season. He's around 6 to 1, and yeah, I'd probably go each way in this. I think it's quite a deep race, as it always is.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of those Group 2, Group 3s that will drop down into the race. Group 2, Group 3 performers dropping down, like Isra. Alflela's not going to run.
No.
He'll go for Prince of Wales. But yeah, Botanical as well. He'd probably like a little bit of ease underfoot. But Torito, for me, I think he's progressive and definitely has a lot more to offer.
And my God, what haven't they bought recently?
What?
They're buying everything.
They're going to have a run in nearly every race, aren't they? And it's probably a good time, actually. We might as well talk about it now. But on my lunch break today, I made a trip into Ealing Central there to Paddy Power to get a bet on James Doyle, top jockey. Now, Ryan Moore's obviously the rightful favourite, and he's going to take a lot of beating. O'Brien always turns up, doesn't he? But just on that point you make, that Wathnan, obviously, bottomless pockets are buying a runner in every race. Yeah. And the 8 to 1 about James Doyle, I just thought was double the price he should be. He should be around 3-4 to 1 on the likely. They're going to have good chances in the 2-year-old races, and like my nap later in the show is a Wathnan horse as well. So I'm going to be backing a lot of them. So naturally, I'm going to be confident that James is going to have a good week.
You've got a lot of fancied horses in here.
Yes.
Like, I know that a lot of them are fancied in quite competitive races.
In handicaps as well.
These wildly volatile races. But you do have even like Gregory running for you in later
Space
in the week on the Thursday. So
Real Look, First Look or Real Look.
Yeah.
Is Real Game,
they bought Hartem as well.
Hartem as well, and strong hands and all those breezers and the 2-year-olds. Like James is going to have a good chance of getting maybe 5-6 winners, and that could absolutely be enough. So I think 8 to 1. It's by no means a strong bet, but couldn't resist going in at lunchtime today.
Makes total sense. Yeah, I had my sweet and sour chicken interrupted by being basically had this chucked on me, and then the case. Well, I was just trying to have a quiet lunch.
Yeah.
So you're never safe. You're never safe in Ealing. Right, on to the Copper Horse Handicap.
Now this is a race I have no real opinion on, to be honest.
It's very difficult with like the crossover here.
Still ANTEPOST, isn't it? Saturday night, and because there's quite a few crossovers in as you say, in the Ascot Stakes.
I think just offering one
Duke of Edinburgh
nicely there for everyone.
You or me?
No, yourself, as in what discussing the previous race, but kind of discussing a lot of this as well. Is there anything that's changed for you in here? I mean, I'm always drawn to my old mate Solent Gateway, who always tends to run well in these races and ran really well the other day actually, and for a long way. But
do you think he'd run here or Ascot?
I'm not entirely sure.
He ran in the Ascot Stakes last year.
Because he can do both now. He really can. He seems to be quite. I prefer him over the slightly shorter distance, but like he's shown that he can be really effective at big prices each way. Yeah. Always. He's just he's a typical me kind of bet. He's a lad. He's a lad who's going to run his race.
20 to 1, sure enough. I think
it is a little short. Isn't it?
He went off like 50 to 1, I think, at Ascot last year. But no.
I remember him going off 40s one day. I backed him each way at Newbury, tipped him on this, and
he did,
snuck into third behind Sweet William, wasn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had good luck beating him.
Yeah, exactly.
Ran really well for a long way. But anyway, right, we'll kick on from this race.
Yeah, don't have a strong enough.
We'll kick on from this race. And we're on to the Queen Mary, which you've completely made your case already, I think, earlier in the week. So we'll go on to the Queen's Vase.
Again, this is a race there's no point talking about it too much. I don't have a strong enough opinion. I thought Birdman was probably one that was a little bit underrated. Aidan O'Brien has such a strong record in this race, but I think Jesse Harrington, as I say, because of the train angle, might be a point or two too big at around 7 to 1. He won a good trial last time out. He's unbeaten in 2. A Free Eagle, which is a stallion I'm obviously quite fond of. Yeah, absolutely. I think Maidan, there's a reason why later in the show that Goodwood form's really strong, I think. He's going to like stepping up and trip. But at the moment, no, I'd absolutely wait for Dex, and it's not going to be a strong opinion on the day.
What did you make of Siddharti's running Derby? I thought he ran really well.
He did run okay. One angle.
Well, given what you were expecting, I think he ran really well.
Yeah, fair enough. Like in terms of like your 4th to your 10th, you could mix it up, couldn't you? What I was just about to say there, the angle of I wouldn't be touching. I know King of Steel won last year, but I wouldn't be touching the Derby also runs at this meeting. They don't have a great record.
Waipiro won last year for me.
Yeah, look, obviously they can go on and win, but in general,
I do always like looking for one like that though, a classy one that's run a really fast furlong in the Derby, and clearly wants to drop in trip a bit. But I didn't really think. I looked at Bellum Houston. I didn't think that he was the one for me this year, so I haven't got that angle this year. Right, onto the Royal Hunt Cup.
Yep. Royal Hunt Cup, obviously mentioned Cawdor. He's, I think he's around a general sort of 10s to 14s you can still get. Very happy on my position. Happy that the showers haven't been as heavy as they are. He needs quick ground. Happy enough with that. Yep. Wells in good form. Just hope you get a good draw, which my preference would be a high number, but as we said, could end up being low numbers, whatever. We'll see closer to the day. Perotto is a horse I know you like. He's going to go there fresh, first time up. Loves the track. Ascot course form is another thing we should mention that is so important. I like the crossover of all-weather form because Ascot's a sand-based track as well. So if you're thinking, this horse is only really showing his best stuff on the all-weather, definitely wouldn't put you off if that's sort of a thing that you might temper enthusiasm. That definitely is an angle in as well.
Yeah, I think Perotto will go close in one of these. Yep. Koi is a horse I like, but probably more for the Britannia. Yep. I thought he ran really, really well at Epsom last time, but just didn't handle the track. Right. So to run that well, and I think he finished fifth or 6th last time. He's off a mark of 95. I do think he can win a decent race this year. Off something like that. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to be one of these most competitive of handicaps. And so, as I always tend to do, bless him, literally staring me in the face at 25 to 1.
Stop.
How often do you lose your money? Very rarely.
Look, I don't even want to say anything. One thing I do want to say, do you have any more to say on him?
On Bless him?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Does anyone need that?
No, like...
Isn't it just copy and paste?
Yeah. A really sneaky one, who I think needs to be mentioned, is Wigmore Street. Yeah. He's had 3 runs. He won really impressively for Chris Fudds. He had a year off. he's had 2 very quiet runs for a handicap mark for Joseph O'Brien, who, as we know, is a brilliant target trainer, and he'll be a trainer I'll take a second look at of all his runners next week. He could be a real sneaky one, I think, for me at 25 to 1. Yeah, keep an eye on him, because it wouldn't be a surprise if there was a big move for him. So.
Fair enough. And we kick on. Duke of Cambridge.
Yeah, as we say...
Do you have anything more to say on this?
Not too much, but as we say, it's going to switch to the round track.
Yep.
But
Ryan's been jotted up on Laurel today, I saw.
Yeah, that's obviously a big vote of confidence. Royal Dress, since we last spoke, has been supplemented. Obviously very unlucky in Epsom the last time. She's a horse that's been transformed, joined James Tate. She had the hood on. She's a horse who's going to be underrated again. James, very good trainer. I think he's a little bit underrated in terms of market positions as well. So 16 to 1 about her Royal Dress. If I was pushed for a bet at the moment, she would be the one I'd look at. But want to wait for the day. But yeah, certainly interested in Royal Dress. I think she's very much a filly on the up, and could definitely see her striking in this company.
Very nice, very nice. Prince of Wales, we've had Inspiral parachuted in around 4 to 1 into this race. Does that change any of your feelings towards it?
Yeah, obviously it's a little... It's a blow to my Blue Rose Sen bet. She's come in now. She's as short as, I think, 10 to 1 in places. Yeah, obviously could have done without Inspiral running there now. I have to have huge respect for her. I think she's only going to get stronger. You can still get force now. I think such a popular filly, isn't she? She's going to be popular with punters on the day, I think. But yeah, still happy enough with Blue Rose Sen. Don't think I need to get involved again in the race.
Sorry, it's just a hinge going off there.
A busy man.
Got stuff to do. Got to reply to some of those at some point.
Yeah.
Alf Layla for me still.
Okay.
I still think he's.
You love this horse.
I do really like this horse. I think he's a little bit underrated based on how consistent he's been. I know it's a long time off essentially, but no, I do think
over White Birch.
I don't think White Birch will particularly suit this track. I think he might have the class to overcome it, but it's a big question mark for me, the track, which puts me off a bit.
Is there any chance he might not run if it's good to them?
Not in my book, no.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think they care about that at all.
Okay.
As I say, on his damn side of his pedigree, there's no need to worry about the ground at all.
Okay. Yeah. No.
He's shown aptitude for running on soft ground, and he's clearly very, very effective. But I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason, as everyone has said, if you've watched racing TV at all this year, with the way he's behaved in the paddock, I've not been over to Ireland, I've not seen him, but they all say he's just a completely changed individual for last year.
Okay.
And to me, that seems like the biggest factor here. The horse has just grown up a bit. He was mucking about. You should have seen him before the start of the Derby, all over the place, jumping around the paddock. Now he's walking around like a lamb. I don't think there's any reason yet to make a really solid judgment that soft ground is the reason that this horse has improved so much.
So the track is the concern.
The track is the concern for me, because he feels like the current allows those horses to get wound up and get into a lovely rhythm. I just always, when you see horses spin round that bend at Ascot,
it can turn it.
It can.
Yeah.
But if it is a test of stamina, then I think it's fine. But it does require it to be a test of stamina. You see what I mean? Like, so that, when it's something like the Gold Cup, and I was worried about whether Courage Monami or a horse like that would that's fine if they are kind of having a test of stamina and they're slowing down. But if there is a kind of more of a speed test, and you've got, as a big horse, spin round that bend and then get grinding and get up into gear, I don't think you're going to have the speed to go with a horse like Auguste Rodin, who's shown an aptitude for zipping round a bend in America and winning a very high quality race with a turn of speed. So that's my concern. I went on a bit there, but I do think it's an interesting point.
That's because you've got to have a think of how the race is going to be run. Obviously, Auguste Rodin, I think he'll be ridden quite aggressively here. Ryan will sit second or third, and as you say, swinging at the bend. That's when Ryan's going to kick. I don't think there's anyone better than Ryan at this track, which is obviously not saying much, but I think he excels above all other tracks at Ascot.
Horizon Door's been put up by a few people today, I've seen.
Yeah,
a couple of the time guys really like him.
As I mentioned in the last, I just would want soft ground for him. Horses will always kind of let themselves down, try and really quick ground. Maybe wouldn't replicate it. I know what was the Hills handicap that put me off that time a few years ago that you liked, Dark Shift, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Hills had been saying, I don't want quick around from him, and obviously goes and bolts up.
Yeah, the big grey.
Yeah, that's it. But no, you got to learn from those lessons. So yeah, he could come and turn up here on quick round and win.
I think that was only because this is another thing for viewers. I trust time form going descriptions over the Racing Post, and that horse had history of running on what was softer ground description on time form compared to the Racing Post. So I'd always lean checking time form if you have access to it. For going descriptions, Windsor Castle, anything for me?
Nothing for you. James Doyle's going to have another good horse, Shadow Army. Well, he might go Norfolk. It's impossible to tell, but
it's impossible
as I said,
for us to.
are going to have chances.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. You're going to have to check. If you want some opinions from us on this, you're going to have to check our social media closer at the time, because quite frankly, it's very, very hard at this stage to be giving you the content to get you excited before in the week building up to, but we're not going to have all the information. So, on to the Kensington Palace.
Yeah, I've got a big tip here.
A big one. We are going big.
A big price tip.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this.
Well, it's not a new name for viewers. It's Aurora Dawn.
Oh, here we go again.
My faith in this filly is unwavering. I think, as I've said, I think she is a stakes filly. Yeah. She's rated 81. A straight track is what I said she's been crying out for. Kensington Palace, I'm delighted that that changes to the straight track this year. Only concern, of course, it's such a warm race. I'm not naive to that fact, but I think over 7 I'd be really, really confident. But I think she could definitely stretch out to a mile. She ran really well to finish second over that trip last year. She could even improve for it, for all I know. But I just...
What do you make of her last run, Goodwood?
That's typical Goodwood run. Safi went for the bold move, didn't work out. Typical Goodwood hard luck story, and you can put a line through it. I think that was a good race. Do I really need to justify? I've mentioned her case several times.
Certainly not.
This year, 33 to 1. She's going to be one of my strongest each way bets of the week. Another filly I would just mention in that is Elim of Ed Bethel, who's a trainer I really do rate. I think he's excellent. I really like him. But this filly, she won at Musselburgh at the start of last season. They thought she was a Sandringham filly at the time. She had a setback. She had a really nice reappearance at Redcar. The first and second have come out and won since. Ronno won again yesterday. He won his race yesterday in a big handicap. That's obviously a huge form boost. Ed Bethel said she would come on for that, and it's obvious that this has been the target. She's very well handicapped. I think I probably will have a small each way on her as well. She's been quite well backed already. Well, nibbled at. And she's around 20 to 1. But Aurora Dawn, Safi probably would ride, but she can't do the weight. So Luke Morris, the sniper's on board. I'm happy enough with that. Off 8 stone 2. And I'm really looking forward to Aurora Dawn. Hopefully she finally gets her day.
Fantastic. Norfolk Stakes, Whistle Jacket, probably one of the more impressive 2-year-olds we've seen this year. Yes. I mean, if you're going to get excited about one of the 2-year-olds that you're going to see, this lad probably sets the standard so far, I would suggest. You know, being by No Nay Never.
Of course, yeah.
So everyone at this meeting, same dam as Little Big Bear that won the Windsor Castle. So, you know, he's got all of the pedigree and everything going for him.
The only thing I would say, every year Aidan does have 2 or 3 that are so impressive on debut, and they do disappoint. So I would always have a touch of trepidation, and at 6 to 4 absolutely wouldn't be for me. Shareholder, I think it can be marked up if you believe Berkey. There's no reason he would lie, but if that horse was off his food and he was still good enough to win, it felt almost, this is a complete guess, but he was pressured obviously into running him at Beverley but to get him to Ascot. Obviously Wafnan's MO is to have Royal Ascot winners. Yeah. The fact that horse could to do that obviously means he is very good. So I was impressed with him as well, but yeah, certainly no view at the moment.
Fantastic. Gregory for me in the Gold Cup. I don't think you had anything. You showed your arms to this one, didn't you?
Yeah, Vauban I thought probably should be around a similar price of where you're looking at Gregory. He's still around 7-8 to 1. So
won't stay for me.
It
won't be seen to the best effect. Probably over the trip. The trip would be a bit.
Be interesting who rides him. Maybe Colin Keane. I think he's rode him last year. Didn't he?
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah.
Be interesting to see who rides him. Obviously, Ryan will be on Kyprios, but not a strong view for me in that.
And on we go. King George.
Yeah, very big fan of the form of the London Gold Cup.
Always.
And therefore, Poneros, who ran an excellent race in second.
Yeah, I'd agree.
This Golden Horn, he's crying out for a step up to a mile and a half. And I think this horse is only going to get better as the season progresses as a 4-year-old next year as well. But Beckett's won this before. I think he's off 92. I do have it written down. 92. And he's around 8-10 to 1.
Yeah.
I love that form.
Completely agree.
And yeah.
Nice middle tide draw.
Yeah, perfect.
And you'd be away.
And obviously it's going to be ferociously competitive.
As always.
I think this was the race last year when they went a kamikaze pace.
They went bananas.
Desert Hero flashed home and it was crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So that's what we mentioned about the draw as well. Everyone's so keen to get that early position, and that contributed to a ridiculous gallop. So
eyeballs out nonsense. Ribblesdale. Anything from me on in the Ribblesdale?
Now, this would be one race I'm so disappointed with this year. I was looking at it earlier, and I looked at it for 2 minutes and thought,
good God.
Yeah, there's no point wasting time. Diamond Rain, I thought, could be marked up for the way that she won the race at Newbury, but I'm making a case for something I don't really care about here, if I'm honest, Joey.
Fair enough.
I don't know if you like anything.
I don't. I thought it was desperate.
Yeah.
I thought desperate, move on.
Desperate, there's no point wasting if you're not.
Were my 3 words.
Yeah.
So Britannia. You're going to tip Dashing Darcy here, aren't you? Because you're a company man.
No, I'm not. Look, he might have a chance. At the moment, I don't have an overly strong view. There's a couple in here. Kirat, who I mentioned, Goodwood, obviously, he was impressive.
My lad hung so far across the track.
He did, yeah. He threw it away. Kirat, he's one of the sort of sexier types. Yeah. Mickley, one of my horses to follow. I'm a bit like Aurora Dawn. He's not sure to get the mile trip on pedigree, but they're probably going to have a swing at it. And I think he could be underrated, as I mentioned. I really, really do rate Ed Beffel as a trainer. And Mickley was really impressive at Donny. I mean, I think he could just be sneaking under the radar.
Fantastic. And so we go on to the Buckingham Palace, where English Oak.
Yes. I mean, I really do like this horse. He was a nap a few weeks ago and he won as he liked, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. So impressive.
Went up £10 for that. He didn't win like 100 horse that day. Another £10 on his back and he would have won. Obviously, this is a completely different test on a straight 7 furlongs on different ground as well. That was soft. This is going to be good at firm, but I think the view has always been that he'll prefer quicker ground. I love this family state occasions. His relative.
You do. I've never seen you celebrate a winner like when State Occasion won at Salisbury.
Yeah, that was a good day. Yeah.
I mean, you nearly smashed the wardrobe up in my edit suite at the time you came in.
But
never seen you so
that's
happy.
the great thing about racing. You get these families, don't you? And it's wonderful to follow these dams.
I thought you were about to say that's the great thing about racing. Winners. Backing winners. I thought you were going to go full blogger.
Obviously, creative force as a whole. That whole family.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's the great thing about flat racing.
Yes.
That's the joy.
Because you get them every year as well, don't you? Yeah.
And you get it refreshed. You know, some of the jumps guys quite understandably like veterans chases. I prefer having you get to see that wonderful clashes through the generations because you're always getting a next batch, aren't you?
Well, that's always the argument. We're going off on a complete tangent, but it's like people, you get the same horse come back. Yeah, I find that boring.
So totally, yeah.
Getting your likes of Constitution, which is a wonderful horse and it's great.
You could have picked a better one, couldn't you? You could have picked some old handicapper trained by Venetia Williams that's running in a veteran
uncompetitive races is what my angle would have been.
Yeah.
And then whereas we're getting new classic crop every year, and that's the challenge in the.
I think it's great, and I also think it is good to digress sometimes because otherwise it is just tip.
That's very true.
So it's always good to have these little discussions on the side. But then, and with that in mind, tip. On we go. English Oak. You're obviously
very strong on him. Yeah,
very strong. On to the Hampton Court. As I said, the race that I kind of like to look for something that's running a really impressive, maybe coming back in trip.
Okay.
Maybe have run a particularly fast furlong in a 1.5 mile race, like the Derby, like with White Hero last year. Couldn't really see it this year.
Okay. I thought you had something for me there.
No.
I'm very strong on one.
Yeah.
Already alluded to the London Gold Cup.
I was going to say that continues over, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and it's a tried and tested route. Cannock Chase, time test for the Charltons has won the London Gold Cup to come on and win here, which was the Tercentenary at the time. So now the Hampton Court and King's Gambit. He was so impressive at Newbury.
Yeah. Disgraceful.
It's a pretty straightforward case, and I think that's a horse that's going to be contesting Group 1s before too long. And 3-1, I thought was a very fair price. I thought you might open up possibly shorter than 2-1. So I think the threes about is very fair. And I really like him, yeah. Yeah,
I was looking for something. I'd say come back in trip. I couldn't really find one. I was looking for a reason to excuse Jarib. I can never say his name. JRB, isn't it?
JRB, yeah.
JRB.
Yeah.
I always want to call him Jarib. JRB, I was trying to give him some reason or a reason to back Bell and Justum. I just couldn't find one for King's Gambit. It was hard to get away from.
Yep.
On we go. We're galloping along.
We're rattling through.
We're rattling on a pace, and we're now onto the Coronation Stakes. I've got nothing more to say apart from Ramatuelle. She's been backed in a bit. I really liked her the other day. I like her for the same reason. I think the track's really going to suit. I think she's going to zip round here, and I don't think that she, with the way races are run around this course, they're going to come back like they did in the Guineas. So I think she's got a really good chance of being right there in the finish.
Yeah. The only thing to add, Fallen Angel wasn't.
Of course, yeah. She's
confirmed.
had a setback.
So that would obviously contribute to that price shortening. One filly.
Well, it wouldn't just contribute to it, would it? It would. I would say it was the only reason there, really. And we have everything's just shortened down.
Well, El Malka's stayed the same price, and so has Devoted Queen, who I mentioned. And at 12-1, that would be enough to tempt me in. I'm hoping. I'm not going to go in just yet. I'm going to wait for Dex, and hoping maybe you get 4 places or just those enhanced offers, which. It's something to consider as well.
Well, you need them this week.
Yeah.
You need them. You need all the help you can get.
You do, yeah. And so I'm quite happy that, she was the one on maybe we would have took on. So in a way, it's a bad thing. But swiftly moving on. What have we got next? The
Albany.
Duke of Edinburgh. There's no point talking about Albany.
Don't want to talk about the Albany?
No, I've got nothing.
Not excited to talk about the Albany?
No.
Right, okay, kicking on.
Do you?
Not going to talk about the Commonwealth Cup?
We can if you want.
Don't really want to.
We mentioned it last time. Again, Sharon, we kind of agreed was just the likeliest winner, didn't we?
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, I didn't think we agreed on that. I think what we said actually was that it's very, very competitive.
We did, but he was 5-1 at the time. I think he's clipped in a bit, but
because he has actually been supplemented, hasn't he? And so
yes, he was always gonna.
Yeah, but it has been actually confirmed.
Fair enough.
100% confirmed now.
Can still get 4.
Yeah.
So.
Happy days. Right, on you go.
Yeah.
I should have just let you go to the Duke of Edinburgh, to be honest.
There's not too much to say here. Again, Joseph O'Brien, that Deacon, he was one that just caught my eye. I thought he's been plotted for this race. Ethical Diamond, probably again a few points too short. To be fair, 6-1. He's maybe going to go off 3s on the day. So if people do like that,
yeah.
Willie Mullins is obviously a trainer to be respected at Ascot, particularly.
Very much so. The Sandringham, Sheik Columbine, very unlucky last time, wasn't she?
She was, yeah.
Very unlucky.
I've got 6 or 7 in this, so it's like, which one do you go for at the minute?
Yeah.
Indelible beat the boys at Doncaster last time, super impressive. Where else are we going next? Without Words, again, Joseph O'Brien, really sneaky run last time out. She'd had 2 runs in Ireland, had a very quiet, patient ride to kind of get the mark last time.
Yeah.
She's interesting. What else have I got? I've got Rochelle for Kevin Philippart de Foy. You watch her run 2 starts ago at Kempton. She won like a proper filly. What else have I got? Fair Angelica. So yeah, at the moment of the prices, Rochelle 33s. She's the one I'm going to back at the moment, but I'm absolutely going to have to whittle that down. Probably take on Indelible just because she's single figures. But Rochelle at 33s I thought was very fair.
Fair enough. King Edward?
Yes, so my nap of the week.
Nap of the week? I thought this was continuous on the Saturday.
That was before we had...
What's going on? Have things changed?
No.
You haven't told us?
He was my nap of the episode. Let's get that clear.
Right.
So my nap of Royal Ascot is Space Legend. He's been purchased by Wafnan.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's a shock, isn't it?
Funny that.
But look, this horse should have won the Cocktat at Goodwood.
Yeah.
He was so impressive the time before in his maiden. But this is a horse who's thoroughly on the upgrade. Wonderful pedigree, see the stars. And this is for me a Group 1 horse. The angle I mentioned earlier in the episode there about taking on the Derby also runs. I hate that angle of them coming here. And Space Legend, I think he could go off fair short here, and at 5-1 he's opened up at earlier today. I think that's far too big. I think it's really good value. The Haggis Yard had gone through a little bit of a quiet spell there, a couple of weeks, and they've really just burst into life now, and that's obviously a great sign. James Doyle will obviously take the ride over Tom, but no, I think I'm very strong on him. The track will suit. Can't see any negatives really.
Yeah, he's a clear standout.
Yeah, very strong on him.
Palace Holyrood House.
No, this is almost impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah,
so kick on.
It's difficult.
Have we got anything to say about the QE2? Well, the Jubilee.
The Jubilee, no.
No, neither me.
Nothing to add from what we kind of discussed.
Can go back and look at the last
Yeah, I think
podcast.
that's good, because people think, well, what's the point of doing another
absolutely.
episode?
And so we won't waste any more time. I think things have changed. Wokingham, you got anything more for me on the Wokingham?
Nothing to add really from part one. I mentioned Dark Trooper and Arazio. It's probably good to sort of mention the horses we did mention, Dark Trooper and Arazio.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two I'm going to back, yes. I mentioned Rumstar. I think maybe he's going to be one for Goodwood later in the summer. I do like him. But yeah, Dark Trooper and Arazio. I think if Arazio can get just good ground, as I mentioned, no extremes, he's going to pop up one day, isn't he? So.
Well, we I'm not so sure.
Fair enough.
Harry 3 for me. He's one I want to add. A very high-class horse. I think I really rate Clive Cox. I think he's a guy who I really, really like. I think he's a very shrewd trainer. I don't think he wastes. I don't think he does stuff just for the sake of it. He does stuff because he really believes it. He's very careful with his horses. This horse has been off for a long time. Came back with, I thought it was quite an impressive comeback run after so long off the track at Salisbury. Plugged on really well. I think he'll come on massively fitness-wise. He was all the way, when he was winning those kind of pattern races in 2022, he's all the way up around 110s, as you'd expect. He's dropped back down to about a mark of 104. And I think that sort of mark, as we've spoken about before, is quite... You don't mind a mark just over 100 in the Wokingham.
No.
A classy horse can carry a decent weight in this and win. So I think he's one that could be better. He's not like he's a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, he's a 5-year-old. He's only 5. Very promising horse. The ground can do absolutely what it wants. I know, because we're still obviously a week out from this race. I think it's important to remember. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I think there's a lot to like about him. I think he's a very classy horse, and hopefully he retains plenty of visibility off a mark of 104.
Very sound case, yeah.
So yeah, he's one of my stronger handicap feelings this week.
Can't argue with that, no. Good rationale.
Excellent, right. And so that only leaves the Hardwicke, which I don't think really anything much has changed.
No, he's been clipped in from 3s to 9 to 4.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, confirmations on Monday for all the Saturday races.
Yeah.
Naturally, the bookies are probably going to take advantage of that. It'll be, 7 to 4, 6, 13 to 8. I just do want to mention the Chesham. Now, I know we mentioned the 2-year-olds a theme. One of the 2-year-olds that you do just obviously watch him and they do blow you away. Did write about Age of Gold, the Frankel colt. He was so impressive. The dogs were barking before that, and he absolutely delivered on the track. I was really impressed with that. I was speaking to a judge who I would really respect his view.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
It's not him. And I asked him what he liked, and he said, I like one of the Chesham. We both said Age of Gold at the same time. So, I respect that he said that. So, whatever price I can get.
Is this George Baker again?
No, it's not. But yeah, when the prices go for Age of Gold, I'll be quick to snaffle them, because I think he's probably Godolphin's leading hope this week.
Fantastic. Right.
Yeah.
I think that sees us wrapped up. You got anything else you want to add?
I guess we'll just probably do a summary of best bets and maybe pick out 2 or 3. As I mentioned just shortly ago, Space Legend would be my nap of the week.
Yeah.
My best handicap fancy, probably English Oak. Really like Continuous as well. It'd be interesting to see what price River Tiber is in the jersey. We haven't really mentioned that. Again, this is before confirmations. He is going there. And hopefully Horton makes the market for him. I would expect River Tiber to beat him there.
Certainly me. My best bet of the week would almost certainly still be Gregory. Gold Cup as the most solid one. And my best handicap bet, as I've just said now, would be Harry 3. I'm fairly sweet on Harry 3. I really like him. So those would be my two biggest fancies of the week at this stage.
Brilliant.
Right, and with that in mind, we want to know what you guys fancy as always. So please do like, subscribe, comment. Let's hear those Royal Ascot fancies. Let's hear what you think of our fancies. Yeah. Are we talking nonsense? Are you talking nonsense? Who is talking nonsense? Who's making sense out there? I don't know. Please do like and subscribe. As I said, please remember to gamble responsibly. That's always important, isn't it, Jack?
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially of this week, of all weeks, because if ever there could be blood all over the curtains, it's this week, I find. So be very careful out there, guys. Let's keep those stakes sensible.
Yes.
But when as Harry Finley always says,
you always back your naps.
Always back your naps. So make
legend.
Make sure you still have a good go on your naps. But do it responsibly, as I said.
100%. Do
it responsibly. Right. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and we wish you a very successful Royal Ascot, and we'll see you very soon.